Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to your 2019 energy forecast. I'm Princess India. If you're new, if you've been here for a minute, I love your face. I love your face too, new person. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the overall energy lesson for Scorpios for 2019. We're going to look at a catalyst and a subconscious influence, as well as what's going to come into your awareness this year. And lastly, we're going to end with a mantra. I don't know why it's so hard for me to speak right now, but we're going to look at a universal spiritual truth, which will be your mantra for 2019. I love how my cards just turned backwards. But this is all the major arcana taken out of one of my tarot oracle decks, because, you know, all the major arcana are spiritual lessons. So I figured what better way to do that than with the major arcana deck of it. So we're going to ask Spirit to give us clear and direct guidance for Scorpios for 2019. Please, Spirit, I ask you to give me clear and direct guidance for my Scorpios. Give me the ability to interpret the clear and direct messages for them. Anything that will work in their highest good. Anything that will assist them in their journey, in their process of unfolding and personal growth. And I thank you in advance, Spirit. So four cards only. Let's get an overall energy for 2019. A catalyst, a subconscious influence, and what will be coming into the awareness of Scorpios in 2019. The year of abundance. You know? Thank you, Spirit. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Overall energy. Wow, Cancer had that. The Hermit or the Seek card. And here this comes again. Balance or Temperance. Man, these are the same cards that Cancer had almost. Is this a water sign thing? And then above we have Detach or Justice. This is interesting. This is very karmic. Makes me think about what I said before. Karmic-y. The flavor. Karmic-y. But anywho, okay, with you guys' central energy being the Hermit, this is really about getting to the truth of a matter. This could very well be a water sign thing, especially with Scorpios, because if you guys are going to dive deep to seek the truth about something, and that something being your experience, it's almost like the theme so far for all of the signs is that going into 2019, it seems to be a year of reconciliation, but that reconciliation being with the self. So it's almost a frustration with the monotony, a frustration with the day-to-day, the needing for there to be more, the needing for my experiences to have meaning. What is the point of all of this, right? The challenge is going to be to reconcile this with within yourselves, within as well as without. So it's to reconcile my inner state with my outer state, is to make the connection between the two. A great deal of that connection has a lot to do with your subconscious influence, which is the Chariot card. And it's understanding that any dissension that you see in your life, any conflict that you see in your life, any union you see in your life, all exists within first, because the external world is merely nothing more than a reflection of your internal world. And that's not something that's said to discourage you, to say, you know, look at my life and it's not in alignment with what it is that I desired. but more or less to empower you in the sense of, if you think of Hansel and Gretel and how they left a trail of breadcrumbs so that they could find their way home. In so many ways, that's what your higher self has done for you. It's understanding that if you looked at your life as a puzzle to decode, all of your experiences in your external world are hints or clues or breadcrumbs leading a trail back to the middle road, that of which is the balance in between two extremes where flow exists, where spirit exists, where the higher self exists, where you were designed to exist, that present moment, right? Because if we look at, is it a Likert scale? If we look at life as a Likert scale, everything usually falls into black or white. So it's the two extremes, but it's needing to find the gray amidst the black and white, right? So as opposed to looking at the external world and then internalizing or looking within, frustrated, trying to figure out why there's dissension external to me, it's challenging myself to find the dissension within me, right? So it's in a lot of what's been said so far with all of the signs is this need to ground oneself on a universal truth, which is why I chose to use these cards for these readings, because what is that quote? If we don't stand for something, we'll fall for anything. The thing that I find in a lot of people that I work with, whether that's on YouTube or if it's in my practice in counseling or whatever, is that there's a need to cultivate a true belief system of morals and values and, personal boundaries, a foundation upon which one lives their life by. When that is lacking, you become a feather in the wind. You are at the will of your experiences because there's a lack of knowing of any other way to be. It's like when one doesn't understand where I stand or what the meaning of my stance is or why I'm here, what I'm doing, what is all of this for. When that doesn't exist, life can feel chaotic. It's never knowing what to expect. It's never knowing why, right? So for Scorpio in 2019, it's cultivating that foundation. But for you guys, I feel it's more or less working backwards from the goal because it's needing that tangible understanding of this is what I'm seeing externally. What does that mean? And I say that because what's coming into your awareness is the Justice card, right? Meaning making decisions that are not necessarily devoid of emotion, but from an objective standpoint. It's no longer me being in this experience at the will of the experience again. It's knowing that I have the dominion, the power, and the authority to ascend above it, to stand outside of it. And just as spirit is in our lives, being the ever-present observer, right? So again, that's attuning to the higher self, understanding who and what I am on, an existential spiritual level, on a soul level, and gaining dominion of my experience, not by attacking it, not by combating it, but by observing it and learning from what it is I've created up to this point. And understanding that everything has a deeper meaning, yet, and this is going to be kind of, of a conundrum, everything has a meaning, yet everything has no meaning less the one you give it, right? So it's whatever speaks to the essence of your soul, the things that you hear that resonate with you. Those are all bits and pieces of your truth, bits and pieces of your ethos or your ideology, so to speak. It's like what we're talking about for Scorpio is in 2019 is you cultivating your own belief system. It's you cultivating your truth based on those things that resonate with you. And I think I said this to Cancer as well as to Gemini, but taking a look at the 12 universal laws, the Hermetic principles, the 14 laws of karma, these are all things that will create that outline for this foundation that you're going to build, because it gives you some sense of understanding. Because at the heart of this, what I find, but this is just bringing into my recollection, and this may resonate with you or not, but it's a conversation I had in one of my lives months ago. And I was talking to some of my subbies that were Christians, right? And they had left the church. And they were kind of asking me how it is that I dealt with, walking away from the church and so on and so forth. And I was saying that more often than not, when we leave our religious practice, whether that was Buddhism, Catholicism, Pentecostal, whatever the case may be, we have a tendency to throw the baby out with the bathwater, which means we are left trying to understand life without a code of living, or thinking that there isn't one. And that's why I always suggest like the laws of the universe or the Hermetic principles, because these are things, or even the eight pathways of Buddhism, whatever. But it's things that stand the test of time, that are universal truths that can help one to understand the calamity that is life. You know what I mean? Because there's constantly things that are coming at us and happening, and having some sense of foundational truths that stand the test of time starts to make sense out of the chaos, and helps you to discern where you are in the midst of all of it. You know what I mean? And understanding that everything is cyclical in nature, that every, cause has an effect. It's just simple things like that help you to grasp some sense of understanding of your experience, as opposed to feeling as if you're drowning. You know what I mean? Because it's just the sense that I'm getting with these cards is that it's that sense of drowning, of these things are happening and I'm not understanding why, or having experiences that you're told are karmic, or that you understand are karmic, but not quite getting, like, what does that mean exactly? You know what I mean? What am I supposed to get from that? Or how do I know when I've mastered something? It's just those minor kind of preliminary things in life that need to be reintroduced and kind of committed to memory, in a sense, to give you that firm foundation to stand upon this year. But either way it goes, it's good, because the catalyst is more or less, and this is the important part here. Let me see if I can get this out. Okay, so with Temperance, the catalyst in each thing that you encounter this year is, instead of judging it based on, like, say, all right, if somebody ghosts you, it's learning from your experience, or letting your experience speak back to you based on how did you respond. When your boss raised his or her voice at you, how did you respond? What did you feel? How different is that from how you responded last year when that happened? That's how you can determine growth. If you usually went ape and flipped tables, and this time you just took a deep breath and woosah'd, that's growth. So it's a need to allow your external experiences to speak back to you and how you are responding to life, and to become cognizant of how it is that you're showing up in life, and how you're responding to life, how you're responding to challenges, what you do when things don't work out, what you do when a relationship doesn't work out, when you don't get that job, you know what I mean? When you feel stuck. It's listening more to how you're responding to your circumstances that is going to give you more insight into yourself. You know what I mean? Because it's taking that time to reflect on, what was I trying to get done there? What were my intentions? how did I expect for that to work out? Or did I respond that way because I was trying to get this person to respond that way? Do I want to start responding more authentically? Was that response more authentic to me? It's that kind of piece by piece self-reflection. And when you're kind of working through things like that, journaling becomes very helpful because it gives you that dialogue with the self, right? So now we're going to pick you guys universal truth / mantra, meditative mantra for the year. You know what I'm saying? I hope that made sense. I've been saying that for everybody. Let me get one card for Scorpios, please, Spirit. Their meditative mantra for 2019, and you guys may want to write this down, just so you can reflect on it. Thank you, Spirit. What does Scorpio need to know? I love how these freaking, these cards are just always on point. What does Scorpio need to know, Spirit? This card stock is not what's hot in the streets right now. Just saying. What would love do now? No other question is relevant. No other question is meaningful. No other question has any importance to your soul. That's deep. That's knowing that in every second, in every moment, every decision that you make that is in your highest good, if you were ever curious of what that was, it's always asking yourself, before you make a decision or before you make your next step, what would love do now? Love is the highest frequency of all. What would love do now? If we look at God as love, if we look at ourselves as an aspect of spirit, if we look at our higher selves as attuned with that highest frequency, what would love do now? In this moment, what would love do next? I don't know, Scorpio. You tell me. That's been your 2019 forecast, Scorpio. Something about lavender I just heard, so whatever that's about. Go buy lavender, put it in your essential oils machine, whatever. But I love your face. Deuces.